First thing I'm going to start with is that for you to be able to change your life, you have to change your habits. If you reflect back on everything that you have failed at or you have succeeded at in life, it all relates or connects back to the habits that you've implemented in your life on a daily basis. Manny, a very good friend of mine, was a very active guy, let's say. Very active. I would say a little bit mischievous, if we want to use that word as well. He was naughty. He didn't listen to advices that much. That was back when we were in high school, more or less. All of a sudden, we finished high school. I finished first. He was a year behind me. And then all of a sudden, he shocked everybody because all of a sudden, he decided that he was going to join the police academy. We were like, what? This guy's going to join the police academy? Nobody could believe it. We were baffled with those news. But 3 or 4 months after he joined the police academy, and not to say, if you have ever watched the movie Police Academy, Manny would be Mahomes. In this case, he would be that guy, the funny guy, always making things happen. 3 or 4 months after he joined, he came back to the community dressing as a cadet, dressing nicely, all formed, like straight, sitting out properly, not talking to a lot of people. And we were like, what? Is this the Manny that we once knew? This is a different guy. What happened? Well, we all know that when you join the police academy, you have to change a lot of things. You have to be more disciplined, you have to change habits, whether or not you like it. But you have to implement these new habits to be able to make it. A lot of people do not make it when they join the police academy. Manny became a total different person. Someone respected, someone that we could learn a lot from because he decided to change his habits. And that's someone that I know. But take a minute, take a few seconds to think about someone that you know who changed their habits for the better. Someone is going to come to mind, that's for sure. And then if you want to relate to someone that's already famous, someone that most of us already know, think about Anthony Robbins, for example. At 17 years old, he embarked on reading many books. And when I say many books, we're talking about over 700 books. And he says it in his stories and how he got to be who he is today. 700 books on psychology, success, motivation. Look at the guy now. He changed the way he was doing things. He changed his habits. Was it only reading? No, he had to be disciplined. He had to apply consistency. He had to apply so many different things in his life to be able to make it to where he is today. And he continues to do that, right? And then think about also someone that people in sports have gotten to know, and it is sorry that we lost him last year, Kobe Bryant. This is a famous story about Kobe Bryant, where at 11, between 10 and 11 years old, he went to basketball camp. And he didn't score a single point, 0 points during the entire camp. It's crazy, right? Kobe Bryant, can you imagine that? Unbelievable. But he went back home, he started practicing, he started waking up early, going to the gym, practicing 2 hours before going to class, and within 2 years, he was the best player in the state. How did that happen? He had to change his habits. He had to implement new things in his life to be able to make it to where we know was before his death. One of the greatest basketball players ever, right?
Yeah.
And we are chatting here. We're talking about Kobe, Anthony Robbins. We talked about Manny. Well, let's talk about me, right? Not to brag, but just to say, how did I go from 0 books somewhere in 2019 to 5 books by the end of 2020, and I already have 2 more coming? It's because I implemented new things in my life, new habits, new things that changed my life forever. Because the way I see it, I'm going to keep using the same thing. I'm going to keep implementing those things the rest of my life to accomplish anything that I want. And I know that you can also do the same thing. Either you Miracle or those that joined and are with us right now this morning through Instagram. Then how about people that are overweight? A very good friend of mine, his name is Fausto. He used to be overweight, but he decided that he didn't want to be overweight anymore. He started going to the gym, he stayed consistent, and he's become a bodybuilder. He's won prizes, trophies. Amazing, right? What can you do with your life when you decide that you have to change? That there's a reason for you to apply this, to start reading, to start exercising, to start studying more, to start learning from those that are already successful. Your life can change and you will not know where it can take you. That's the power of habits. And sometimes we look at the end result. We look at, oh, look at Dwayne Johnson, The Rock. Look at this guy. Oh, they're famous. They're making a lot of money. They had to work really hard to make it there. They had to sacrifice a lot. It's not easy to wake up every day at 4 a.m. It's not easy to wake up at 5 a.m., right? We've been there. But it's not about being easy or whether or not we want to do it. It's about being disciplined and knowing that if we don't do it, we're not going to accomplish anything. We're not going to achieve our goals, our plans, the things that we want in our life. Now, I'm going to share with you 7 habits that successful people and that I believe are powerful habits to have in your life. So, if you're sitting down, even though this is going to get recorded and you can watch as many times as you want, jot it down, write it down. 7 habits that you should implement in your life if you do not have them currently. Number 1, discipline. And you know what? When you think about discipline, especially in many parts of the world, and I remove my belt, you think about a belt, right? I'm going to discipline you, right? This, you're going to understand now. Or you think about the military. Sir, yes, sir, yes, sir. Discipline is not bad. Discipline really means, you know what? You have to do that. Right now, it doesn't matter if you're tired. It doesn't matter if you don't want to do it. It doesn't matter if you're not motivated. Nothing matters. You have to do it because this is going to bring big changes in the way you do things, in the way you act, in your life. It's going to bring success, and it's going to help you and those around you in many, many different ways. So discipline, number 1 habit that I think is probably one of the most important to have. Consistency. Consistency. One of the things that I get asked a lot is, oh, don't you rest? Don't you take Sundays off? Don't you take the weekends off? No. If you are a writer, you write every day. If you're a bodybuilder, you go to the gym every day. You take care of your body every day. If you're a runner, everything that you do, because you have to rest, maybe the running part, but you go to the gym, you exercise, you do it every day. right? You are a teacher, you have to study every day. You're a student and you want to get great A's or whatnot, you have to study every day. There's no way we can accomplish things if we don't do it daily. And consistency is built by something that I'm going to share with you before we go into the questions session of this presentation. But so far we have covered discipline, consistency. Those two need to be connected. They need to go hand in hand. Number 3, perseverance. One of the things that happened to a lot of us is that we start doing something. Let's say a YouTube channel. We write one book. We do something and we don't see the results. And we get sad and we go like, you know what, this is not really working. I'm going to stop doing it. And we stop. We do not stay persistent. We do not persevere. Nobody has accomplished anything by quitting, right? The more you persevere, the more results you're going to have. I have a very good friend of mine who started a YouTube channel some time ago, a couple of years ago, and at some point he was only uploading maybe one video once a month, every 3 months, whenever he pleased. When he persevered, he stayed consistent, and that now he has almost 200,000 followers. And he keeps growing day by day because he persevered. He said, okay, I'm still gaining subscribers little by little. What happens if I do this more often, if I persevere, if I stay consistent, if I'm disciplined, if I'm going to release a video on Sundays, every Sunday there's got to be a video there. No matter hail or rain, there has to be a video there. Even if I work on that video Monday, the video is going to be there Sunday because my spectators, my subscribers, are waiting for that video, right? So you have to persevere, and sometimes people have to persevere for 5, 10, 15 years. And if you go to Google, if you read, you're going to find that there's a lot of cases where people actually got to the top, to the summit of their lives after many and many years of persevering. When you talk about persevering, we think about Japanese. It's funny, when we create a business, people expect that business to grow and for you to become rich in a year, 2 or 3. When you talk to Japanese, they're like, okay, in 20 years, my business is going to be successful because it's going to follow the steps just like a child. You know, when it's little, you nourish the child, you teach the child. But at 18, 19, 20, that's when you're an adult and you can start bringing fruitful products into your life and the life of the others, correct? So, 3, discipline, consistency, and perseverance. I don't have time. Make time. That's the biggest lie I've ever heard. Oh, I don't have time. I don't have time. I'm sorry. I didn't do this because I don't have time. Everybody has 24 hours. Everybody has the same number of hours during the day. Are you doing more than I'm doing? Or am I doing more than what you're doing? Probably, but still, make time. It's very interesting because Eric Thomas, a very famous motivational speaker, says that when people reply back by saying that they don't have time, it's because it's not important to them. Listen, if something is important for you, you make time. It's funny. Time just appears magically, like with the wind. Okay? So, for example, you don't like to exercise. Oh, I don't have time to exercise. I make it home. I'm very tired. Do it before you leave the house. Right? Or, okay, you don't do it. You start getting obese. you are getting sick. All of a sudden you go to the doctor and he says that if you do not start exercising, you're probably going to die in a few years. Guess what? You find time. You find time right away to exercise. Isn't that funny? So whatever it is, your excuse to not doing things because you don't have time, make time. There's plenty of time. How many hours of the day are you spending watching TV? Or for example, at work, it's been proven that out of the 8 hours that most of us spend in the office, we are only really productive 4 or 5 hours. What are you doing with the other 3 hours, right? Are you just mingling, talking, wasting time on social media? There's time. Just make time. That's habit number 4. Now, habit number 5, and I love this one. And I'm going to start by saying that at the end of 2020, I was able to go back to Goodreads, to Kindle, and I was like, oh my God, I read like 40 books only on Kindle without physical books that I also read. So I'm like, okay, I'm around the 50 books that successful people and CEO people normally read during the year. So reading is very important. There's a quote that says that leaders are readers and readers are leaders. Or the more you learn, the more you earn. And we go back to a little bit to that relationship with making time. Oh, I don't have time to read. Well, I'm not asking you to read a full book in one sitting. I'm telling you, read 5 minutes. 5 minutes. You go in the bus, 5 minutes. Just start the habit. Start little by little. You cannot eat an elephant in one sitting. You have to eat it little by little. One bite at a time. If you start running, you're not going to run a marathon on day 1. It's going to take you months, right? Little by little, start reading 1 page, 1 paragraph. But start doing it. Reading is so important. I believe that when you read, you basically start living the life of somebody else. And listen, I'm in Montreal right now. Miracle is in Nigeria, right? We are very far away from each other. But the probably best way to get connected with the people that we admire, the famous people who have succeeded, is by reading their books, the things that they write. All of a sudden, they become our friends. Even though we don't have a face-to-face relationship, we're learning from them, right? And very important as an author, once you read a book, go on Amazon, go anywhere you can, and provide a review, because reviews for authors are very important. It makes our jobs better, and we can focus on getting better for us and for you, the readers, right? So reading has to be in your life, whether you like it or not, because it's going to make you a better person. Habits are not about likings. Habits are about what they can bring into your life. Okay. That was habit number 5. Number 6, exercise. Exercising is relaxing. It brings so many positive things into your life. And I'm not telling you that you're going to get on the balance and you're going to be like, hey, wow, I lost 5 pounds. Yeah, I'm happy. Every time you finish exercising, the cells in your body make you feel happier, make you feel relaxed, stress-free. Exercising to the body is really like reading to the mind. Right? And for those that are religious Christians, I would say, there's something in the Bible that says that our bodies are the temple of the Holy Spirit. If that's the case, we have to take a good care of our bodies, correct? So exercise, find time to exercise. And again, I'm not telling you to set a goal of exercising even 30 minutes a day or in 1 hour. That might be impossible. You have a lot of things to do in your life, I understand. 10 minutes per day. 10 minutes, not a lot. 10 minutes pass very fast. 10 minutes, start with 10 minutes, and you're going to see that you start with 10, and all of a sudden you do 30 minutes, and you don't even realize it. It's just that idea of taking action, the idea of getting started, correct? So exercise. And last but not least, out of the 7 habits that I think are critical into our lives is gratitude. We have to be thankful for everything that we have. We have to be thankful for our lives, for every breath that we take, for family, for work, for books, for technology. Look, this is amazing what we are able to do right now. People that are miles and miles away are able to connect through the magic of technology. Take a couple of minutes in the morning when you wake up, before going to bed. Some people recommend to actually write down those things, but as long as you either write it, say it, think it, be thankful, show gratitude for everything and anything that we have in our lives. That's very important. And now, okay, we talked about the importance of habits. I provided you with 7 critical, crucial habits that I think are very beneficial in anyone's life. Now, you're probably asking, but okay, how do I implement those things? Okay, so now I'm going to give you also 7 ways to implement any new habit in your life. Number 1, identify what that new habit is. What is it? Right? You cannot make it anywhere if you don't know where you're going, right? What is that new habit that you want in your life? Is it to learn a musical instrument? Is it to start reading? Is it to start exercising? Is it to start waking up at 4:30 a.m. before your workday starts? What is that new habit? Identify it, write it down, think about it, and once you have that habit identified, then you can move on to step number 2, which is probably the most important out of the 7 that I'm going to provide to you. What's your why? What's the reason why you want to implement that new habit in your life? Your why needs to be so powerful, so big, that nothing is going to shake you, nothing's going to move you. You are going to be applying, implementing this new habit every single day of your life because your why is big enough. So first you identify, but then you decide why you want to do it. Is it that you need to exercise because your life depends on it? Or you need to learn something because you love it so much that you die if you don't learn it? That why is your reason to stick to this new habit. So that why needs to be strong. If it's weak, I'm sorry, it's not going to last long. Right? So identify it and make sure it's really important. The reason to apply or implement this habit is a matter of life or death. Okay? So number 3, do it at the same time every day. You know, there's a little bit of a mistake that we go through in life. You know, I'm going to exercise. You know what? Today I'm going to do it at 6 a.m. But tomorrow I'm going to do it at 9 p.m. Or no, you know what? I'm going to do it at noon. It's not going to stick. You have to find the exact time when you are going to implement this habit in your life. Because what do you do when you wake up? Normally. Or not only wake up, but what do you do when you get up? You tend to go to the toiletries, right? You brush your teeth, you go to the shower, but that's automatic. You don't even think about it. It's a habit. And when do you do it? You do it at the same time, right? And most of the time you go to bed around the same time, you have lunch, breakfast, and dinner at the same time. You have to make sure that you implement those new changes, new ideas, new habits in your life exactly at the same time. Okay? Maybe one day for some reason that changes, but stick to the same time to make sure that those habits stick. Step number 4, it's to find an accountability partner. Right? It's very important. It's like when you go to the gym, you know, lifting weights is not very interesting, especially when you're doing it alone, right? Find someone that's going to be pushing you towards accomplishing that. If you don't have that person, well, find it. There's always a way to reach out, find a colleague at work, a classmate at school. Find someone that's going to make you accountable for that new habit in your life. Someone that's going to be asking you, hey, did you do it? What happened? How did you feel? Tell me, do you recommend it? Should I start doing it? Find someone to push you to make sure that that habit sticks in your life. So find an accountability partner. Then keep track. Okay? Keep track of the sequence of days. Get a calendar, mark it down. Okay, so how many days have I done this? For example, a lot of applications nowadays, like if you want to learn language, Duolingo, they keep track of how many days you've been using the application. I realized that now Goodreads or Kindle is doing the same thing. They remind you, hey, you've been reading for 8 days in a row, 10 days in a row. For example, I have been using Duolingo for almost 400 days in a row, right? So, but I go back to what I told you about time. I do it always at the same time. You know, there's no way that I'm not going to do it because I'm doing it at the same time, right? So keep track of how many days you've been implementing this habit. Put it in your calendar on the wall and start marking it down. And you know, you're going to feel very happy about this. Now, you're going to feel so happy that one of the things that you really need to do, let's say when you accomplish 10 days in a row, 1 month in a row, 3 months in a row, celebrate it. Celebrate it. You know, like, yeah, I got this. I got it. And I want to keep doing it because the more I do it, the further I'm going to get into the development of that new habit in my life. So celebrate your milestones. For example, if you want to lose weight, you know what? Don't celebrate it by going to the ice cream store and eating a big pint of ice cream. That's what you're trying to avoid. But, you know, go to the movies, have a party with friends, do something interesting, but celebrate that milestone that you have accomplished, right? And you know what? Last but not least, but share the success you've had. Share with others. I've been teaching since I was 18 years old, and I think that the best way to learn is by teaching. It keeps you up to date. So share with others. You don't know the lives that you're going to be changing by sharing what you have accomplished through implementing new habits in your life. So, you know, we covered a few stories to show how important those habits are. 7 habits that I believe that are critical to anybody, and 7 ways to implement these habits